No witajcie, tu Kardaś, grastroskopia.pl. Po dłuższej przerwie wracamy do The Other World. Zobaczymy, może w końcu przejdziemy.
Wouldn't it be something to see an Earth assault cruiser land here?
Don't be ridiculous. There's no way one would fit.
How would you know? You've never seen one.
Neither have you. I don't know anyone who's seen.
I do not understand why you would discard the birthright destiny is bestowed upon you.
As usual, I have no idea what you're talking about.
So many yearn for the opportunities you disdain. There are those who would give their hand to be born of Byzantium as you were.
Now, why couldn't you just have said that in the first place?
I find myself marveling at the complex
Some crew members are causing a disturbance on the ship.
Dead center. Next round's on you.
Shh, the captain's coming. Put your gun away. Act casual.
Oh, yes. This'll about do. That's a mighty clean weapon. Yep. Ain't no call for a closer inspection by anybody.
Something busted, Captain?
Something on your mind?
Hey, Cap.
Welcome back, Captain. How can I be of assistance? Certainly, Cap. What would you like to add? As you wish. I'll be here. equipment above Stellar Bay, Captain. No blockade is a match for my piloting skills.
I'd show you around, but I gotta keep quiet.
I wonder sometimes what they're doing on other colonies.
Uh-huh.
Think they're watching the same serials, following the same tossball games?
Mm-hmm.
You're not listening to a word, are you?
Look, my back aches and everything smells like fish.
You grew up in Byzantium, right? Don't rub it in. Oh, don't get all prickly. I just haven't met someone who left the high life on purpose.
I'm from there, but I'm not really from there, if you follow.
Don't worry about me, Cap.
Normally my boy listens to reason, but he's being so stubborn.
Remember, Sublight is not responsible for... Hey,
Cass. What are you looking at? Knock, knock.
Go away, White.
Walking, run.
That's not how the game works. I say, knock, knock. Like I'm on the outside of a door.
This looks like the place. Ready to get my money or what?
Well, well, aren't you the very picture of good health and sound decision-making? However, we can't make good decisions all the time. Consider whoopsie-daisy coverage. Please note that to make a claim under this policy, you must describe your error in detail before a panel of relatives over the age of 65. And also note that doing so nullifies the privacy and dignity clause. I remember that one. That's the young socialite who broke her neck, right?
Of course, no one remembers me for the marauders I've killed or the bits I've stolen. Typical.
That claim was airtight. Our best investigators couldn't find an exclusion for that one. You can't, of course. Only Miss Fenhill can assign her beneficiaries. And she's dead. If we let every friend, relative, and acquaintance change a policy like that, people would do it all the time. Imagine the paperwork. Of course she is. The paperwork says so.
I like to think she's dead in spirit, but technically, legally, and regretfully, I'm still Marilyn Fenhill.
That's impossible. By all accounts, she was an elegant and classy woman with impossibly fine bone structure. That couldn't possibly be you.
That's gotta be the nicest thing anyone's said to me in a long while.
Oh, you mean hypothetically? Well, hypothetically, you'd access the terminal in the back room that contains data on all our policies. And you'd theoretically add the beneficiary of your choice. But you wouldn't actually do that, of course. That would be fraud. Please, my policy only covers paper cuts and wrist strain. Very well, I'll do it. But then you've got to go. Confrontations like this will raise my premiums. I'll need the name of the new beneficiary.
Ellie Fenhill?
If you say so. The payouts will flow exclusively into the new account at the start of the month. I hope Ms. Fenhill enjoys her newfound prosperity.
Can we talk? You really did it. Give these payouts a few years and I'll be rolling in it. Being a surgeon out there isn't as great as it seems. At least half your day is paperwork and red tape. No amount of money is worth dealing with that. I'm just glad my folks aren't gonna live off that awful story they made up. Maybe now they'll have to go back to real jobs. Don't get me wrong, I'm happy to have the money too. Just don't ask me what I plan on doing with it. Maybe you haven't noticed, but you can't even count on a bribe making it into the right pocket. What's the point of planning for anything around here? Hate to say it, but Halcyon's already there. Anyway, enough of that. You did a job for me, so here's your fee. You know, with all your starry-eyed talk, you almost had me convinced you really weren't doing this for the money. Relieved, actually. You know, I think I get you just a little more now. Plenty of sense in that. You know, I'm thinking I ought to find another gig once this one's all done. One where I can really work on my own. Easiest way to take care of myself is to work with the one person I trust the most, right? Anyway, enough chit-chat. Something on your mind?
What was it like being one of them top rungers?
Hey, my parents and their gold-shitting friends are top rungers, not me.
It wouldn't shock me if those fluffed-up hull heads actually did pass gold.
They've got pills for that. And that's not even the weirdest thing I've seen.
It ain't? Well, now you've got my interest.
Anyone else? The last of him. I ever tell you about this one patient? One that her eyebrows moved up and the tip of her nose raised.
What? Why? Was she trying to disguise herself? She on the run or something?
So she'd always be looking down on everyone.
You are making that up.
Making stuff up is work. This is real.
Byzantine life seems awful cushy. Could get myself used to kicking back for a spell.
It's all paperwork, ass-kissing, and stuffy parties where everyone eats too much.
An overabundance of food.
You look like a man.
You ever think about out what goes on in a marauder's head?
No, they're crazy.
But they still manage.
If you stop in the engine room, would you ask Parvati to send Sam down to the bridge? The groundbreaker has approved our request for docking, Captain. You're free to disembark.
Rizzo's Purple Berry Punch. You want a punch? We've got your punch right here.
Have you tried our... Don't take much? Have a look.
CNP near maple syrup. It's near this complete breakfast.
That gas is going to make us a fucking mint. 120-some cubic meters of it, at 1,000,000 bits a pop. Take this. You've earned it. When we get buyers lined up, I'm gonna buy a gold toilet to shit in. You're goddamn right. Monarch isn't exactly a walk down the lanes of Byzantium. But here you are with all your limbs attached. Call me impressed, contractor. No one you saw, anyway. Glad to see you're looking out for yourself. You've been keeping busy. I hear you took on some extra work at Fallbrook. Catherine sounds pleased as a pig in shit over cornering the Borst markets. Hey, When you were at the slaughterhouse, those swine didn't give you any strange looks, did they? Like they were hanging on to your every word, scheming. And when you turned around, maybe they just oinked like innocent little idiots. I knew it. I'm probably getting worked up over nothing. Just try not to think about pigs. You never know, you know? I've got a lot on my mind, but it's nothing that concerns you. At least, not yet. I have another job lined up, assuming you're still interested in work. They're gonna salvage me a space station. Heliospheric Research Station 1084, to be exact. I want it. Cobwebs and all. Interested?
Looking to expand, huh? Fallbrook ain't big enough for you?
This opportunity won't come around again, Captain. Right now, it's only salvage on paper. Systems and comms have gone dark. Poke around if you're curious why. While the board lets 1084 gather dust, you're gonna swoop in and plant Sublight's flag. Perfectly legit, perfectly legal. Not this time. The board tolerates our business up to a point, and selling off a station full of their old gear and terminals crosses that point. But if we were to move in and commandeer the station as a Sublight salvage remote office, that's a different matter. Legally gray by comparison. More of a squatter situation. Here, this override bypass should get you into the station's systems where you can plant my flag. And one last thing. When you get there, make sure you aren't followed. We wouldn't want that. I'm being smart. Try it sometime. I'm on the heels of something big. Play your cards right and I'll clue you in, but right now, I'm not sure who I can trust. Just be careful. Someone might try and use you to get to me.
CNP burst pocket can be macro-made with 2.5 seconds.
Crew members Ellie and Max are engaged in a heated discussion in the kitchen.
Max. Maximilian. Vicar. Vicky.
What?
Shoot, I forgot. It'll come to me.
Hey, Cap.
What are we...
Hey there.
We've reached HRS-1084, Captain. It's emitting a very weak docking signal. I almost mislabeled it as normal etheric static.
Quiet as the grave in here. We should get the power generator going again. Might cheer up the place.
Captain, I've been attempting to contact you with urgent news. However, communicational functionality was impaired due to the power outage. A UDL vessel has been tracking our position and just recently docked with the station. They are patching into the station's transmission lines now. I cannot stop...
I've been waiting for this day since we tagged your ship in Cascadia, Captain. So glad we finally have this opportunity. My ship is docked with 1084. There's no escape. I think not. The refueling system at Cascadia's landing pad logged your ship ID. You've been poking your nose into restricted locations. This makes my superiors unhappy. I could peel your ship open like a can of Boris. But I'm in a sporting mood. Sublight? Ugh. I hate it when you outlaws organize. The paperwork for killing you would be the death of me. That's kind of you to ask, but we have a tight schedule. It's open season on trespassers. Squad, I'm ordering a recall. There's a misspelling on orders that ought to be corrected. On the double.
The UDL gunship is undocking from the station. They appear to be departing into space.
That was rather impressive, Captain. Diplomacy at its finest. Subtle work, Captain.
I'll take your confession now.
Well done. We're still alive. Keep a sharp eye out, Captain. One wrong step could incapacitate or kill.
Ja pierdolę. Już mi nudzi ta gra powoli.
Science in action is both a marvelous and terrifying thing to behold. In this case, however,
Everyone all right?
Job done. We can go home to the ship, right? I've been missing Ada fierce.
Chartrand. Sounds awfully familiar. That was the scientist from Cascadia, right?
Captain, if you're looking for crew members Ellie or Felix, they're sharing a drink upstairs.
You ever notice how our crew's a lot like that crime family from The Masked Marketeer?
So who's Parvati?
You remember the youngest daughter who always does what she's told, but in the season finale she murders 12 people with a knife? Parvati.
It's always the quiet ones. And what about me?
A scion of Byzantium turned to banditry? You've got to be the Masked Marketeer.
Hi, Cap.
Captain, I wish to offer my commendations for convincing the UDL's gunship to leave HRS-1084. I did not favor the idea of being stripped and sold for parts. Destination reached. The Groundbreaker.
Rizzo's mock apple cider. CNP, I can't believe it's not yours. How good it is.
Finally, a base of our own. Soon we'll have eyes on every corner of the system. Well done, Captain. I heard about that. While my lawyers scratch their heads wondering how we deal with human salvage, I'm leaving the researchers in hibernation. Aside from the automated security, did you meet any resistance at the station? I knew it. They've been shadowing us since Monarch, maybe even longer. I've been less than honest with you. Your assignments weren't strictly about the salvage business. You might have figured that out already. After the Monarch job, I started connecting the dots. I didn't like the picture. Then what we found at Station 1084 confirmed my fears. You and I have stumbled onto something big. Something none of us were meant to know. Glad to know it, Captain. Ask yourself why a skeleton crew was studying that Alta Vitae gas in secret. Ask yourself why stockpiles were hidden on a planet full of monsters. Before we go any further, I want you to keep an open mind. Can you do that for me, Captain? Aliens. I'm talking about aliens. They're the ones responsible for the deaths at 1084, and who knows what else. We have to put a stop to it. I'm saying it's aliens. I'm not asking you to like it. I'm not even asking you to believe it. But I need to act on this threat to the colony, and I can't do it alone.
Captain, in my humble assessment, Ms. Hagen is insane.
This doesn't feel at all right, Captain.
The crew is skeptical. That's good. I don't want you walking into the unknown with blindfolds on. I assume you have questions? If we're gonna see this through, I'll need your trust and commitment. Now's the time for setting doubts aside. Conspiracy. One carried out with the help of human collaborators, assuming they haven't all been replaced. This is an invasion of our very cells. That damned gas is mixing our nucleon with halcyon biology to twist us, change us, make us more like those monsters on Monarch. Terrific. That go-getter initiative will carry you far in Sublight. Dr. Chartrand is the crooked psychopath behind the gas experiments. She sold out her species. I need you to put a bullet through her skull. She's a research scientist and a damn good one. Before UDL poached her, she engineered a 0.2% increase in cystipig juiciness. Now she's doing the same thing with humanity. Her fingerprints were all over Station 1084. You saw what she did to her team. You've got me all wrong. I just want to add Savior of Humanity to my resume. I've got ambitions outside of this office, you know. Besides, this way Sublight gets first dibs on alien salvage. Do you usually come across innocent people trapped in suspension tanks? Because some of us would call that excessive. Remember, the tanks were just the shit she left behind. Just imagine the experiments she carted off to her next lab. This keycard will get you through the front door of her Byzantium estate. Don't ask how I got it. You might not like the answer. By now, the other side knows what you're doing. Don't trust anything Chartrand says. She's compromised down to the bone. Maybe even deeper than that.
CNP burst pockets can be macrowaved in 2.5 seconds.
I believe I hear Felix and Parvati discussing the latest Aetherwave serial.
Felix, your apps are surely not gonna believe this. You remember that spin-off series about the mass marketeer? Halcyon Helen's coming on for a special romance arc? Ah! What if they hold hands?
Wow, are you serious? I gotta get a copy of that. Like what I did with the place?
We are now in orbit above Byzantium, Captain.
Like that's something exciting. Happening around here for
Vegan,
once.
handmade, gluten-free, dairy-free, nut-free.
The dissidents actually took over the refinery.
Why place your faith? What?
Today's trends are tomorrow's trash.
Spacer's Choice pre-sliced bread. Fresh because it was.
What's gotten into Bachmeyer? Now that he's posted at the HHC, he's too good for the rest of us grunts. Maybe we lose some of his gear in this.
So, you threw off the constraints of proper society and abandoned a life of luxury to live as an outlaw.
You finally get me, Vicar.
Regretted?
Let's see. I got freedom, independence, and usually space from people telling me how to live my life.
And how long before you reckon you end up back where you began?
See, I knew there was a lecture coming.
The universe has a way of snapping you back to where you're supposed to be, Dr. Finhill.
I'm always where I'm supposed to be. Here and now.
You have a rather exotic
This reminds me of... Oh, never mind.
After Cascadia in 1084, I was expecting this. Chartrand has a thing for sticking lab coats in tubes, doesn't she?
That's far enough. What are you doing here? How did you even get inside? My what?
Captain, you cannot seriously believe this conspiracy nonsense.
Let's talk about this. Please. I think there's been a crucial misunderstanding. Just give me a second to explain myself. If you still want to shoot me, at least it'll be for an accurate reason. If you came looking for some elaborate scheme, it isn't here. All I'm doing is trying to keep Halcyon alive.
What are you doing, Doctor? This information is beyond classified.
You can write me up in your report. It hardly matters. I'm researching a new way to feed the colony. The crops we transplanted from Earth don't give us the nutrients we need. Our colonists might not realize it yet, but they're starving. The food we grow here barely sustains human life. The colony won't last under these conditions. So, the board let me approach the problem from a different angle. I believed that I could adapt humans to live on Halcyon's terms. That I could change us. Give us the ability to derive sustenance from the nutrients the food does have. Look around. We're the only intelligent aliens in Halcyon. I know. I was there. Thomas was the first to take the gas. A simple test, he said. I told him not to, but he insisted. We learned a lot from his autopsy. Enough that we could try it on each other and know when to stop. No one else died. I must find a cure so his sacrifice isn't in vain. I wouldn't allow us to experiment on convicts or the unemployed. It's wrong, no matter what the law says. Everyone agreed. We accepted the risks.
So you doomed the greater good for the well-being of a few bad apples.
I'm desperate. I've already asked all the best institutes on Earth for help. Years ago, we sent a message out on the Cornelius Vanderbilt, but heard nothing back. One of the two Earth Directorate assault cruisers, assigned to patrol the Halcyon system. It's been missing for over 2 years now. They never re-established contact after the skip to Earth. Of course, the board is keeping that under wraps.
I can certainly understand why.
Imagine losing something with that many guns on it.
The board is uneasy about letting the colony know, seeing as half of their military force vanished without a trace. I'd prefer if you didn't use my name when you talk about this. My contract has a list of very terrible consequences for breaking secrecy. Once we can replicate a success, the board will move to rewire our nucleon. With any luck, our next generation will be eating and thriving off Halcyon crops.
Knowing what the board considers a success, that doesn't give me a lot of hope.
Progress is the future. Adaptation is survival.
We haven't made enough strides to advance the plan. Hardly any at all. But we have to keep trying. If I die, there's no one who can reproduce our work. Every sacrifice will have been for nothing. And we'll be no closer to a solution that feeds the colony.
I try not to, least when it comes to the moral dilemmas. Lilia Hagen's a useful ally to have, but I'll back you up either way.
Everything I did was for the good of the colony. Consider that.
It may not be pretty, but we risk the colony's downfall if we hinder the Doctor's research.
I hope you know what you're doing, Captain. I leave it in your hands. The one on the wanted posters? They say he's an anarchist. A madman, a butcher. I'll do it.
Doctor!
What choice do I have, Commander? For the last time, no. I need to get out of here. Phineas can contact me when he's ready to work together. For now, I'd better pack up the lab and head somewhere discreet.
Not so fast. Captain, what you just learned is beyond your clearance. Hell, it's beyond mine. Give me one reason why I should let you walk out of here alive. Wrong answer.
They got the drop on us.
Watch it, bro, it works! May the law have mercy on you. I won't. I'll take this one!
That's top-of-the-line equipment. Better than most pop.
That's far enough. This is utter nonsense. What happened to the team? Small consulate. We were... You can write me up... Our produce...
Lack of nutrition also...
The
So...
I'm just...
I can...
Imagine...
The board also has its... Once we can replicate...
Knowing what the board consider...
Progress is the...
We haven't... You can... If
I try not to, least when it comes...
I hope you know what...
It may not be pretty, but...
Everything... You won't regret this. I'm still far from the breakthrough I need, but you're at least giving me a chance. For now, I'd better pack up the lab and head somewhere discreet.
Not so fast. Captain, what you just... Give me one... That'll do, sucker. Now move along. The doc has a lot of work ahead of her. Tidying up and such.
Captain, Felix and the Vicar are arguing again.
Young Millstone, you look pensive.
I don't know what that means, but I've been thinking. It ain't easy carrying a torch for the Rangers.
I understand. The Rangers' victories are your victories.
We've arrived at the groundbreaker. Please avoid damage to yourself or...
Rizzo's Whippleberry Fudge. A soft, sour... aroma. Whippleberry flavored snack. CNP pancake mix. Now requires no mix. Don't mix.
Is it done? Well, damn. Contractor grew a conscience. Technically, I owe you an exit interview. Care to justify your betrayal? You're awfully quick to trust someone who offed her colleagues and called it a good start. Out of my office. We're done.
This is why I always ask for half my payment up front.
What a surprise. Seems we're no...
Is it... Tech... Seeing as you're the first one to complain about my paranoia. Out of my office.
This is
What a surprise.
Time for you to move along. You keep lingering like this, I'm bound to get nervous.
Sublight for life.
CNP near maple syrup. It's near this secret.
Crew members Ellie and Max are engaged in a heated discussion in the kitchen. We are now in orbit above Byzantium, Captain.
All right, you're clear. The adjutant's expecting you. Go on through.
I see you haven't been shot to pieces by the guards. Do you have an appointment? Of course. You're that curious spacer Mr. Bedford mentioned. Just a moment, please. Madam Adjutant. Bedford's contact has arrived. Shall I clear your schedule?
No, thank you, Percival. I doubt this will take long. I'm Sophia Akande, adjutant to the chairman. For your alleged information on the whereabouts of Phineas Wells? We'll get to that in a moment. I've been reading all about you. This dossier from Emerald Vale was especially engrossing. I have a file on everyone. I have a file on Percival here. You wouldn't believe what he gets up to during private hours. I've been keeping up with you ever since Emerald Vale. Now that was an interesting piece of work. A rundown backwater, barely worth the ink on a map. Until you showed up. You walked through Edgewater and in your wake transformed it from a loyal company town to a haven for dissidents. I'm actually a little impressed. Anyone with eyes can see that you're talented. But you're also unpredictable. I don't like unpredictable. I happen to like men with a working spine. I have a job for you. One of our cartographers needs to be the opportunity to become the board's most valuable freelancer. Rachel Lockwood, cartographer for the Bureau of Exploration. Lockwood has to go. Get rid of her. I'll tell you. Let's not mince words. Wells is a dangerous criminal and a lunatic. I know you're... It isn't as if we're executing Lockwood for The nature of Lockwood's work was sensitive. I suppose I could. Let's not mince.
If we don't do it, someone else will.
You keep colorful associates, Captain. At the very least, We've hired outside dependable... Excellent.
Welcome to the official headquarters of the Halcyon Holdings Corporation Board.
You can pass. Go on through.
No dobra, na razie kończymy. Trzymajcie się i zapraszamy na graftoskopia.pl.